Good morning and welcome to a new edition of the Arsenal Opinion Podcast. I'm joined by Matt Candela. It's a very special day, Matt. Why is it a special day?
Well, it could be a special day because we have had an incredible guest, a secret guest, come and join us on the podcast earlier today, live from the Arsenal camp. The first clue I'll give: he's an invincible.
He's an invincible. Is he European?
He's not European.
Is he South American?
He is South American, and I'll give you a clue. He is sometimes invisible.
Did Dick Law make it his life's mission to get him to Highbury?
No.
He did, didn't he? He was involved in that?
No, Dick Law was chasing around Joel Campbell.
I thought Dick Law's one of his first missions was
really?
Gilberto.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you just gave it away.
Connect.
We give it.
It's bloody Gilberto Silva.
Oh my God! The invisible wall. The invisible wall is invincible. Absolute legend of a man.
Matt, do you think he reinvented the number 6?
I think it was the first
in
time.
England.
I think it was definitely the first time that you recognize that a player had to do more than be good on the ball. And I think that's part of what his nickname, the Invisible Wall, was all about, because he was just always in the right place. His positioning was second to none. It was almost David Seaman-esque in the fact that he didn't need to be going around doing Steven Gerrard impersonations all the time. It was more about being in the right place at the right time and being able to just sort of nip in and intercept it. And he was just such a fantastic foil alongside Patrick Vieira. What a partnership that was.
Unreal. Listen, Dick Law, this is a quote. When David Dean asked me about Gilberto, I told him that I knew him well, recalled Law.
Mm-hmm.
He then asked me to help on that deal. I said I wasn't an agent. I was the CEO of another organization, but sure, I would help. So I was able to give David the inside track into Atletico Mineiro and Gilberto's agent, and Arsenal successfully beat off Juventus on that deal. When I asked Arsene now what the difference between 2003 and 2004, he says Gilberto, he was a terrific player, a terrific gentleman, a terrific pro. I was very happy to have helped Arsenal sign him. So that was his first Arsenal mission. And he became kind of like Arsene Wenger's. He was, I don't know what he was. He was
the man
kind
on
of
the ground.
An for a bit. Man on the ground, bag man. You know, the guy that knew.
A bit like the man from Del Monte.
I think he's based in Austin now. I think he's based in Austin.
What, with the club?
No, I don't think he's involved in the club. I think he's retired now, I'd imagine. Put your feet up. So, Matt, tell me some fond memories that you have of Gilberto.
My fondest memory, and we sort of touched on it, was I don't think we were that used to seeing a player like him before, because we were just so used to just the middle of the park always being an absolute war. And he was both a defensive midfielder, but he also had, for me, a little bit of an elegance around him. And he's one of the very few players who got injured. And it was really one of those moments where the moment he was gone, you realize the gaping hole that he left in the team. And I think if he was underappreciated before he was out for a stretch, he certainly was never underappreciated again. So one of those very few players, normally injury or being out of the public eye means that you think less of someone or their stock declines. But he was the total opposite, which I always just found really, really interesting, but really elegant, tough, very complimentary, made everyone around him better. And for me, will always be synonymous with that yellow kit. I always just think of Gilberto in yellow for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I always think of him in yellow as well. Yeah, he was a fantastic player. I think he taught English fans that there was a different way to play that position. And it really was noticeable when Arsenal fans did not truly appreciate what he did until he was out of the team. Like his intelligence, his ability to shut down angles, his outsized influence in a very quiet manner. He was a fantastic player, fantastic buy. One of Arsene Wenger's kind of last truly sort of great buys back in that era. You know, where we just pull a player out of nowhere. You'd be like, who the hell is this? And then all of a sudden they're playing for Brazil. So very exciting signing. And listen, this is part of Arsenal's American tour. They are in the country, Matt, and they're in LA right now. They're playing at the weekend at the SoFi Stadium, July 27th, against Manchester United. There are tickets available. We put the link in the bio. And listen, I've got a new bit of tech for you for those watching this. I've got something. It's called a QR code above my head. I just put it on. So if you get your phone out, put the QR code, you can go direct to the tickets and you can buy tickets to see Arsenal. Some exciting youth prospects.
I'm
trying
going to
to
do it now. Look at that.
them?
I'm just doing it. It's working. You can see that. And I'm just logging through. And you can log on
And
what you
we're
need
in.
to know. And I can see tickets. I
Yeah.
can see
So if
tickets. They're loading.
people want tickets, you
You
can
can
get them
get
this weekend.
tickets. Yep. And very reasonably priced. See, you can see them here. You can see all the tickets.
And
Yeah. It
I
works. It works.
I went to SoFi Stadium for the Super Bowl as part of a work thing before. In my real job, we launched our stadium. They've got incredible technology there. The stadium is absolutely massive. It's extraordinary how large it is. And it's built on like 3 concrete rings. And those rings can move independently. So if there is a number 10 on the Richter scale earthquake, it kind of just absorbs the shock. And that the sort of Oculus thing that they've got, the new TV things that all these American like Super Bowl stadiums have, it weighs 2.2 million pounds and it hangs and it's unbelievable. The sound system in there is also crazy. Like I have never appreciated sound in any stadium, but they pump like sort of dance music through it. The Super Bowl they did anyway, and it like rippled through your body. I've never heard anything so loud in my life. So it is a bit of a scene, that stadium. And the one reason that I mentioned that, it's not because we got Gilberto as part of the podcast, Matt. It's because when Arsenal think about renovating their stadium, if you go to the SoFi, they've got KSC have got this group that looks after stadiums. That's what could be coming to Arsenal. Fast internet speed, better food, better lights, better big screens, better sound. It's quite exciting, Matt. Have you been there?
I've never been there. No, I'd love to go. I'd love to be going this weekend. But unfortunately, I'm not. Although I do have tickets for Philadelphia, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, there's been lots of talk about the renovation of the Emirates or the increased capacity of the Emirates. We'll need to try and get the inside word on whether there's anything happening on that, or whether it's just all rumors and speculation. However, at some point, everyone has to renovate their stadium, and I think it doesn't harm when the bar for our owners is the SoFi Stadium, rather than looking around the Premier League and saying, "Oh, should we do this or should we do that?" Which for many years has been the way it's been. I mean, I think Arsenal were the first team to get jumbotrons in 1992, I think, which is funny to think about it. Then everyone got screens, we've always tended to be ahead of the curve, and what we don't want is for the Emirates to turn into Old Trafford and just be leaking all the time. So hopefully the club are thinking about it.
It is crazy though, isn't it, how quickly stadiums fade now? You have a set stadium for 40 years back in the day. In NFL, it's mandatory that after, is it 15 years? You have to do a rebuild or you have to invest a certain amount of money into stadiums. So it'd be interesting to see if they follow suit in the Premier League. And the biggest driver of these things is premium money. Better premium spaces, bigger ticket prices that you can charge. And some of the premium spaces in American stadiums are absolutely outrageous. And we can't have Spurs having a better stadium than us, surely.
Do you think they've got a better stadium than us right now?
100%. 100%. You can't even deny it. You can't even deny it. But it's always, if you build a newer stadium and it's not the best in the world at that point, you didn't spend enough money.
I always think we should have made it bigger.
Yeah, I agree. I
I
agree.
always felt it always felt quite conservative to go and
Yeah.
build a sort of 60 something thousand stadium. Was it 65, 67? I always felt like when Manchester United had 80, why would we do 60 something?
I wonder whether some of the concern was Italian clubs needing to downsize, but we never picked up that trend. I mean, Spain doesn't have great capacity outside the top teams either. Like, I think the UK is very unique in the sense that they get 96% capacity at all their grounds. I mean, treasure that. I mean, it's part of our culture, though, isn't it? There's much more of a service level agreement, particularly in America. If your team's not doing well, people don't tend to show up. Not in all places, obviously, but uh, interesting that the Premier League managed to sustain it all of these years. Matt, listen, let's not beat around the bush. I think we should probably get into the Gilberto Silva podcast. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Arsenal Opinion podcast. We are joined by a very special guest, Gilberto Silva. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Great to meet you guys and speak to you as well.
So let's kick off proceedings. The backdrop looks wonderful out there. Where are you and what are you doing with Arsenal Football Club at the moment?
I'm LA with Arsenal for the preseason. Just arrived this morning from Brazil, and the weather is lovely. I don't know where you are, but don't be jealous. Sorry for that. Don't want to be too bad with you guys, but the weather here is lovely. But of course, looking forward for the match for the preseason, and I hope Arsenal have a good time here. Doing the last part of the preparation for the season that has come, it's yet to come very close shortly.
So I'll start with the first question. What can fans expect from a game this early in preseason? Like, as an elite level athlete, like, what are you thinking about in these early games? Should fans be reading too much into stuff?
Oh, the early games, especially in the preseason, uh, sometimes not the best, expectation in terms of uh, create so much expectation around the team in terms of results. But it's important to prepare the team for what they are going to face during the season, because if you see the squad is not it's not complete, and there are some players missing from the competition this summer, and if I'm not wrong, there are a few with some injuries, and I hope they get back fast, quick, and be ready for the team and start training. But I know, obviously, for the guys who are here, for the players, it's important this match because it's important to start well. It doesn't matter if it's a friendly match or whatever. They want to win the games, and the competition starts already for them, despite it's just a friendly match, because they are going to face them later on in the Premier League. You know, it can be a good start for them from here.
So many of the players who are with you at the moment are players that were not away with their international teams, with the Copa America, with the Euros. Do you think and do you sense that if you're a young player or a player who's not in the international team and they're coming into pre-season, you're thinking, I have to take advantage of this moment where other players are not there to put myself in the forefront of the manager's mind and try and be on that team sheet on the first day of the season? Do you see that in the young players especially? This is my opportunity to really make a mark where some of the other players are not around.
Well, this is what I was going to think if I was in that situation. It's not a better place to be now as a young player, join the first team preseason, because sometime this is where the manager decide who is going to be something different during the season, because we understand how important it is when you have a good preseason, train properly and have a good approach on games. And the preseason for young players is very important, because let's see, maybe they have an opportunity from the beginning of the season, but if not from the beginning, the manager will have them in mind from their behavior here, their commitments, and the way they do things on a day to day with everybody, especially the interaction. I think this is a very important moment for the group because later on, when the competition starts, they won't have much time to stay together for so long. I think this is a very special time, and I hope that the younger players, enjoy everything, but also have something in mind: the importance of these moments in their career to leave a good message for the manager.
What's exciting you about heading into this season? Arsenal came really close last year, had a good run in the Champions League. What are you looking for this season, and what's got you excited?
I believe my expectation, compared to any other Arsenal fan, is not much difference, and the last two seasons has been so close, but in the end, so far, because we've lost. But we have to keep our faith and believe in the team, believe in the manager, believe in what the club is doing, and support them. Doesn't matter they face some challenge, so when they win the games, doesn't matter. But for me, this is the year for Arsenal. Being 2 years in a row, knocking the door, chasing City, who has been the best team in the world in the last, I don't know, 10 years, 8 years, something like this. It's not so easy. And but Arsenal, they have done great the last 2 years.
So
We
you're
have
an
like the perception that they could have, let's say, done better, especially last season. But it's never too late. I'm sure the squad, the team, they grow together, and I do believe that now is that time.
so you wear probably the ultimate badge of any ex-Arsenal player, which is that of an invincible. And we have probably spent almost the last 20 years looking back at that team and thinking about just how incredible it was. And I think one of the things that's been exciting about the last 2 years is for many of us, it's really the first time where we felt like we've had a really, really, really competitive team. But we haven't had many players over the last 20 years who would get into or challenge the Invincibles team and actually get its way into the starting lineup. When you look at today's team, which of the players do you think would really be challenging to get into the Invincibles team?
Well, it's tough to say because we had a very good team. The first 11, the guys on the bench, because when they came on, they did so well. They were outstanding. But obviously, there are good players like Declan, Saka, Martin Odegaard. Martinelli has doing well. Gabriel Magalhães. But it would be challenge for them, I guess. But obviously, they are doing great. And but what really, you know, uh, as you said, having the team very competitive now in the last two years, I think this give us, a great feeling. Maybe a few years ago we were not so happy with the performance. When you look at the team and the results during the season, you say, "Wow, that is something really missing. What is it? How they are going to find a way to get it back?" Now we can see that they have done a lot of improvements and a lot of dedication in order to put Arsenal back in the position they are now. Obviously, it's not so easy to move forward because you need to think what's the next step, what we want to achieve next. We have come to a point where we need to show something different from what we have done so far. But we are behind them. I think this is important. The atmosphere at Emirates Stadium is beautiful. It's fantastic. It's so lovely. I really enjoy when I have an opportunity to go there to watch the games, and I hope they take advantage of it again. And we are going to be around. Doesn't matter in stadium or anywhere in the world, support them to win this season.
You you obviously are an invincible. That's one of the most mentally tough achievements that has ever happened in the Premier League. What does it take to be mentally tough? And do you see signs that this team has that toughness and they're ready to take it to the next level this season?
Well, I think being mentally tough, as people sometimes say, my opinion is just about embrace who you are, embrace your nature, embrace your dreams, and it's a day-to-day work. It's a day-to-day commitment about what you want to, where we want to go, and how you are going to do things right from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. It's not so complicated as long you do things right. For me, it's a combination of simple things, better every time. And I think they got the ingredients to that. They got the support in the club. People are behind them. The fans are behind them. The club is supporting them. They have the manager who is doing a great work and giving them the confidence they need. And at sometimes, just be you have to be, let's say, selfish at some stage. And it doesn't mean you are not going to be humble anymore, but be selfish in order. I want to break through. I want to go one step further. I want to win. Nobody is going to be better than me.
So we've obviously got a very strong Brazilian contingent. We've got the three Gabbies, Gabby Magalhães, Martinelli, and Gabby Jesus. And two of those players had their seasons a little bit disrupted by injury yesterday, with Gabby and his knee, and then Martinelli had this cut foot. How does it feel as a player when you're so desperate to have a really, really strong season, and then you have injuries and things happen that come up? What does that do to you mentally, and what do you think? How do you think you focus on the next season when you've had a season before that's been disrupted by injury in that way?
I believe this is one of the toughest moments for play, because you want to work, you want to help the team, but you are not able due to injury. But it's part of the game, it's part of football, as we know. But when this kind of thing happen, one important aspect I think for me, remember my days was just focus on what I have to do in order to get back on fitness and to be fit again and take care of my injury. On my time, I didn't watch much football because I was focusing in the rehabilitation. And but then when you are back, it's just about listen. Uh, I'll do my best again to help these guys because in the tough times, they were there for me as well. And just you know, it's not much difference, but obviously because you miss so much, you miss so many games, you want to give your contribution, but then you have a challenge ahead because some other players feel the place and they have done great, and then you have to fight back to get back in the team. But appreciate of being in this club, especially with the group they have, and build up again and be around and support every day's training session. If they play 1 minute, 90 minutes, they are going to be ready. They have to be ready. I think this is the simple thing that they just need to do and understand that.
I actually remember as a season ticket holder, your first or second season, and you were out for a little while with an injury, maybe a back injury, I seem to
Yeah.
remember. But it was one of those rare moments where, and I think your nickname was the Invisible Wall. And I think in many instances, people didn't realize everything that you did until you weren't there. And it was one of the only instances where you missed a period of time and everyone was like, we need that guy back in the team because we can't do this without him. So it's an interesting time. We're so grateful for you coming and talking to us. We're so grateful to have you still supporting the team. Being an Arsenal fan, I know you played for other clubs, but it really feels like Arsenal is in your heart. The fact that you're there with all the team, with all the players, and we're really, really excited for not just the season ahead, but this pre-season, because we're going to get a chance to really look at the players. So thank you so much for joining us, Gilberto Silva.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And we are back. That was a good interview, Matt. What did you make of that?
Oh, I mean, any time spent with any Invincible is time well spent. Great to hear from Gilberto. Really great insights about what it's like to be in pre-season. I think it's really interesting hearing about how fans get up in arms about every result. Interesting hearing Gilberto talk about how it's really about the opportunity for the group to spend time together, the group to get closer, the group to build that type of spirit they're going to need to overcome all the trials and tribulations of the season ahead. So he sounded really, really positive about it. And I really enjoyed him talking about the young players who are looking upon it as an opportunity to stake a claim, who might not be there if it wasn't for the Euros, if it wasn't for Copa America. But there are some names in there that are really looking to impress the coach, impress the manager. Who do you think falls into that category?
I don't know really. I mean, obviously, Winery.
Yeah.
I mean, he's number one. I'm trying to get up the.
You know what I've noticed? You know what I've noticed about him?
No.
He's always next to Odegaard in the photos.
Yeah, that's true.
He was on the exercise bike or whatever next to Odegaard. He's always smiling. Well, Neri doesn't really smile. He's got that sort of quite fixed expression in one place. But yeah, it's good for him, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I would imagine the other player that's quite interesting is MLS, right? Miles Lewis Skelly.
Yes.
He seems to, if there are three players that are of interest to Arsenal fans moving forward, I think it's MLS, Winery, and Max Dowman, who I think is too young to go on this tour because he's 14 years old or something. But MLS would be interesting to see how that goes. Like, could that be the new Saka and Smith Rowe moving forward? What do you think is what do you think the plan is for those two? Do you think it's to get them out on loan early, or do you think they're still not quite old enough to take a big loan? You know, like the sort of the Marseille, the Saint Etienne, or a Bundesliga move. Do you think they need to be looked after this year? They need to get the Mikel Arteta coaching into their brains before they head out? Like, what do you think the plan is there?
I've got a funny feeling that Nwaneri might go straight into the first team.
You think so, yeah? This year?
This year.
This year, that's bold.
I've just got a feeling.
He does look very well built, though, for it.
Yeah,
he?
He's bigger.
Stocky.
He just looks a level above. I think he's already come on a few times and looked dangerous. I think at West Ham he came on. At Brentford, obviously, he came on. I think there have been some opportunities for him, and I just wonder whether Arteta thinks he's ready to play some games and then maybe go out on loan in a season time. Maybe not, but I think this might be the moment where he could get 15 appearances as sub.
15 appearances would be good. What do you make of some of the other player? Like Omar Rekik seems to have been about for a long time. Like
you know what was an omission is Chido. Because wouldn't he have been brought in if he was as a little sweetener? Look what's awaiting you. He's the right age, but he's nowhere near.
I just think for me, if Arsenal really wanted this player, they put the money into his hands that he wants, wouldn't they? Do you know another player that I think is interesting? Tommy Setford
The goalkeeper?
Yeah. Grew up in Holland. He's been in the Ajax team since like under-8s or something crazy like that. I think his dad is English. So he was like, I'll have an English passport, which I love. And he made the right choice for the Euros. But he's an England under-20 goalkeeper. Is he there to take Karl Heinz's position? Karl Heinz is an actual international. What do you think there? Or do you think this is just don't get too excited about all of these signings?
I don't know. You never know. What we do know is that what you normally think is going to happen rarely happens.
Yeah.
No one was talking about Bukayo Saka as the one, and then Bukayo Saka became the one. You know, all those really hype players, the Lupalis, the Jets, the Gideon Zelalems, you know, they stalled when they got to the Carling Cup. And the ones that make it, I mean, very few make it, first of all. Even like Iwobi's stalled. They got to the first team, but they couldn't keep pushing. So it's normally someone different. You'd say, oh, maybe MLS is going to make it ahead of Nuneri. It's that type of thing. It's always a difference. But normally it doesn't come down to just skill. It comes down to the head that they've got and how screwed that is on. So whatever I think, it'll probably be exactly the opposite.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I do think Nwaneri is the anointed one, right? There's no way that he's not. There's no way that he's not. Manchester City is sniffing around.
We've seen him play.
We've seen him play. We know what he's all about. I would love that. I honestly would love that. We're due another academy prospect making
and
it
it's
to the
great
ranks.
when they're just in midfield, absolutely running things.
I was going to say, let's play the game. Who's most likely to get minutes and then never see them again? Who's the Royal Waters of this tournament? Who's the Zelalem of this tournament? But that's a bit cruel. But there is always one. There is a player that we didn't know about that we're going to fall in love, and then all the little Twitter nerds are going to be like, "Oh, he's going to make it. He's going to be mate," and they're going to be angry that he's not played and he's going to be out.
Well, because the one that Spurs fans are going crazy about is Mikey Moore, aren't they?
Yes,
they reckon he's going to be starting for England in the next World Cup.
Easy, but it's when you're a Europa League side because you blew your Champions League chance. You can play a whole bunch of 18-year-olds. There's no pressure on you. But we're trying to win the league, Matt,
and the Champions League.
The Champions League. Different gravy this year, Matt. Different gravy.
Yeah. Anyone else exciting you?
I'm excited to see how refreshed Ben White is going to look. But I will say there's one player that I've had my eye on all summer. Since seeing the behavior of Reece Nelson and Emil Smith-Rowe. And then the counterpoint was Gabby Jesus. That man has been working out, looks like he's slimmed down a little bit. He seems extremely focused. He's already scored a goal in pre-season. What about you? Who are you thinking about?
I'm excited because it's a long time, and we sort of did it about Smith-Rowe, but remember Smith-Rowe doing this, remember Smith-Rowe doing that. But as Mikel Arteta famously said, Gabby Jesus changed our world. Those first 10 games, it was like for me, I hadn't felt anything like it since Ian Wright arrived. When he was just scoring sensational goals, was unplayable, everything he hit flying in, culture change, personality, bravery, all of those things. And then, got some niggles and some injuries, and we haven't seen him since in that shape or form. But if we could get him back to that level, just imagine. And I did say on the podcast a week ago, imagine if he gets off to a good start and scores 8 in his first 10. We'll probably win the league.
And we're hearing rumblings that he's looking absolutely unbelievable.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited. If he has a season where he gets 15 goals, we could be on for winning the Premier League.
Oh, if he gets 15 goals, we win the league.
You think we win the league?
Yes.
A lot of pressure on him. A lot of pressure. But as you say, it's do or die. Survival is at stake here, right?
It is.
Benjamin Sesko could have come in and pushed him right out. He's been given a chance.
He's got a reprieve. He's got a reprieve. We desperately need a right winger to take the. I mean, he might be Gabby Jesus might be playing more games at right wing if we don't get someone in to cover for Saka soon. Surely we're not going to go another summer without providing some backup for Bukayo Saka, unless it's Nwaneri or Vieira.
Yeah, it can't be though, can it? It has to be like a Neto or somebody that can come in and do a job right now. Bakayoko, PSV, somebody that's got goals to their name, somebody that can slip right in. I'd imagine that if we are going to do that, we'll buy someone from the Premier League. But I think Pedro Neto is going to be the one. I've just got this feeling. Just feels like he's been linked for too long. Edu's got good relations with Mendes. Just feels like it's written in the stars. And maybe he doesn't need to play 40 games a season, but I would much rather have somebody in the squad that was available, because injuries don't always line up perfectly, you know?
Yeah.
And Tomiyasu's already out with an injury.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? All right, listen, if you enjoyed that podcast and you want to hear more, go to patreon.com/the Arsenal opinion. $5 a month, and you get all of this audio ad-free, plus all of the bonus stuff. thegrove.co.uk has moved into the Primo space as well. You get premium writing and the podcasts for $7 a month. And then if you want Arsenal tickets, remember the game in LA at SoFi Stadium, which is spectacular, this weekend has tickets available. And if you just look above my head, there's a QR code. If you're listening to this podcast, there is a link in the bio. Get down and see Arsenal. It's not often they're in America. Well, I mean, it is. They're here every year these days. It's great. But yeah, enjoy the game if you're down there. We'll be back with a before the whistle. We'll also do an on the whistle. Football's back, baby. And I am really, really excited, especially after hearing Eric Ten Hag say he's the most consequential manager in the Premiership outside of Pep Guardiola, which really made me laugh. Hopefully he'll be eating his words this weekend. All right. On that note, I'll say ciao for now. Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.